UNITY. Uniting through music.
Check this out.
Unity Radio Online.
Hi, I'm Serge Misona from Unity Radio Online, and today I'll be speaking to Libby Blake, Director of Children and Young People's Service here in Haringey. How are you today?
I'm really good today. I've been looking forward to this interview, and I'm looking forward to my day in general.
Yeah, that's good, that's good. I hear this is your first time at Bruce Grove. What are your first impressions?
Oh, it's not my first time at Bruce Grove. I came down to Bruce Grove when it was opened last year as well. But my first impressions of this place where I'm sitting is really great, in the Unity Radio studios, with all your kit and your equipment here, though I've already heard you say to me that you want more kit and more equipment, which is fair enough. But it's a nice place you've got here.
Libby, could you explain to us what you do as the Director of Children and Young People's Service here in Haringey?
Yes, it's a fantastic job, this job, because my responsibility is to coordinate the partnership of people who work with children across the borough to make sure that we get the best outcomes we can for children and young people and their families here in Haringey. So whilst I'm directly responsible for the social care services and the parts of the youth service and parts of the children's centre offer and the youth offending team, and I've also got responsibilities to promote the educational outcomes for children in the borough. So we work with a wide partnership of schools here too, and with our health colleagues as well, to make sure that children have a healthy, happy, safe and achieving childhood.
That's good, that's good. So how do you feel the summer programme is going so far?
The summer programme is absolutely fab in Haringey, and if people haven't worked that out, I would just like to say it. Last year's summer programme in the Olympic year was fantastic, and this year we've got a really good summer programme again. And I've heard already that more than 600 young people have been involved in summer programme activities. So if your listeners haven't been down there and tried it out yet, I would really recommend to them that they do that. It's a chance to learn, try something different, build your confidence, acquire new skills. So as far as I understand it, it's great.
Have you been to any other summer programs besides Unity Radio this year so far?
This year I haven't, because this year I've been focusing on visiting my social care services and in other parts of the council. Last year I spent quite a bit of time, spent one whole day at Bruce Castle in the park and looking at the things that were going on and checking out the summer programmes. So I know that it's a really solid programme. I think we built on what we learned from last year. I think this year is even better.
Okay, definitely. What would you, okay, how is your department measuring the success of the summer programs?
How are we measuring the success? What we did this year was to look at the outcomes that we wanted to get from the summer programs for young people, and I haven't been involved in the work on measuring it, but I know that we felt that last year we could have done better to capture the impact that the summer programme had. And so a team in the youth service have been looking at how we might do that better this year. So we know that we want to do things like give a wide range of young people a chance to learn new skills and gain their confidence. But we also know that we want to see fewer young people becoming caught up in the criminal justice system, for instance, or getting into trouble with the police. So we'll be measuring it, I think, by looking at some of the data that we've got about some of those things against young people who've been involved in the summer activities.
Are you measuring it by attendance, or by are you giving the young people opinion cards of where they feel like a satisfaction rate?
We will be measuring it by attendance as well. The measures that I'm talking about are rather different. They're about looking at whole populations and the impact on a whole population as something that you try to do. I don't know whether what we're doing in terms of checking out young people's feedback on it. I do know that we do ask young people what they think about our services. I was reading a report yesterday about the youth service which had opinions of young people right through it because we've been asking for their view on what they thought about the youth service. So we will be checking out with young people as well.
So would you say attendance to youth summer programs this year is higher than last year?
As we stand at this moment in the summer programme, we wouldn't know whether it's higher than last year or not. Okay. But as I understand it from what I heard yesterday, attendance is looking really good at this point of the summer programme, and we're very pleased with the numbers involved.
Excellent. So what are some of the new programs in the woodworks for this going year?
What are some of the new programs?
Yeah.
Well, we've the report that I talked about that's going to go to the Cabinet in the autumn of this year is a report that's looking at how we're thinking again about the way that we use our resources for youth. So we've been doing a fundamental review really of the youth service and the money that we've got available to spend on young people. And that's been prompted by what young people have been telling us, as well as people in our local community who've also got views about what would meet the needs of our young people. So we've been listening carefully and thinking about what our responsibilities as a council are, and also about how we want to involve young people in designing their own services and indeed in running them, because that's part of our key commitment to build youth participation in decision making in the borough. So we know we want to do more around youth participation. We know we wanted to lower the age range of the youth service to 8, and we want to do more for younger young people as well, because at the point that we had to make very significant cuts to our public services a couple of years ago, we know that we lost quite a considerable amount of service for that younger age group, and if we're able to think anew about that, then that would be good, I think. And we know that we want to reduce the number of young people getting into difficulties in their lives, and we want to support young people to make the most of the opportunities that they've got. So those are very broad range outcomes that we know that we want to have, and the team are now breaking that down with a group of young commissioners and looking further at what sorts of activities would support those outcomes.
Definitely. Okay. How would you like to see children and young people taking advantage of the programs set out for them?
Well, we want to reach as many young people as we can. So we want to have an offer that's available to all young people in the borough. And we know that much of that offer will be delivered through community groups, faith groups, other people who are involved in the borough already and are funded to do so in different ways. And the council needs to focus then on making sure that the things that sometimes prevent young people taking up their opportunities, that get in the way of it, that we focus then on making sure that more vulnerable young people get a chance to access opportunities as well. So we want to narrow the gap really in the life chances of families who are poorer usually, and it's usually about poverty and lack of access to money and opportunity, against families who've been able to give their children a stronger start in life. So as I've already talked about, we want to work with young people to prevent the risk that they might get involved in the criminal justice system. We want to work with young people to delay the time when they start a family, because we know that teenage parents have a tougher time really in getting up to economic stability and the chance to have a really good quality life for themselves and their families. So those are just a couple of examples where we know that we need to focus. There are also minority groups of young people that we want to be sure access the youth service, and it reaches out to them in the same way as it does to some of the young people who are already well engaged. One of the things we want to do is broaden the access to the youth council so that young people from all our schools get involved in the youth council, and we can say that it's truly inclusive and representative of young people in the borough.
Could you tell us the age range of the youth council?
Now you've caught me out with a question I don't know the answer to, but I think that it's mainly secondary school young people. In another place where I work, we had a junior youth council as well, and I don't know whether we've thought of that or not here. But when I went to the youth council last week, it was, I think, secondary school young people that were there.
Now I'm going to ask you a few questions from young people who are attending Bruce Grove Youth Club. So questions we wanted to ask you.
Brilliant. Go for it.
How do I get your job?
How do you get a job?
No, how do I get your job?
Oh, my job?
Yeah.
Oh, right. I would say that you would get a job like mine, or indeed my job, wrestle it off me, by focusing really hard on what you want to achieve in life, and by working very hard. And I don't think it's a job that you get because you're enormously brainy or necessarily because you've been to Oxford or Cambridge or the things you read about in the press. Actually, I didn't go to Oxford or Cambridge, and if you looked at my A-level results, they weren't amongst the best, but I kept focused on what I wanted in life. I knew I wanted to be a social worker. I worked really hard at that, and I got the qualifications that would support me in doing that. So I recovered the fact that I didn't get the best A-levels in the world, and went on, focusing on that. And I've worked my way up to the position that I'm in now just by always looking at the job ahead of me, really, and thinking about how I can support the person in that role, and then finding that actually I thought I could do that role after a while. So I think it's about focus and commitment. I don't think anybody would be a good director of children's services if they weren't driven by wanting to improve the life chances of children in the place where they live. So you need your inner core and your commitment all kind of lined up behind your determination to succeed. But it's a fantastic job to do, and there are many other fantastic jobs around that. Because I'm a people person, I'm driven more by people than by money. I would say kind of teaching, being a social worker, being a youth worker, those are fantastic jobs to do. Other people find their niche in life in other ways, and will go for those kind of jobs. So if you want a job like mine, then I would say spend your time looking at people and their circumstances they're living in, understand what it's like in your local community to be not just people like you and your friends, but look broader than that, at the experiences of other people in your community, and particularly the experiences of people who aren't accessing the opportunities that you are. And then focus and work very hard.
UNITY. Uniting through music.
Check this out.
Unity Radio Online.